Marco, and I'm visiting the place where American iron and steel industry was born. I'm at the Saugus Iron Works.
The ironworks is situated on a 9-acre piece of land in Saugus, Massachusetts. It produced wrought iron and cast iron from 1646 until 1670. It was through the vision of Governor John Winthrop that the ironworks was built. To understand how the ironworks came to be, we must first look back to see what was going on in the early 1600s. Early in 1630, the Puritans were fed up with the corrupt lifestyles led by the British people. They left England and settled in the New World. Here in New England, they set up their community based on the morally strict values of their Puritan heritage. John Winthrop knew his colony needed a supply of iron to build up their settlement. His Puritan community was not happy with the limited amount of iron products being imported from England. He wanted his colony to be self-sufficient and independent, so he set the wheels in motion to build an iron works to meet these goals. In 1645, engineer Richard Leader came from England to the New World to search for the perfect site to set up the ironworks. He decided on a parcel of land along the banks of the Saugus River. The spot was chosen for the following reasons. The river was an endless source of energy. There was lots of iron ore in nearby bogs. There were lots of trees which could be processed into charcoal. There was a harbor which could be used to transport materials in and finished goods out.
The Saugus Iron Works is a significant place internationally because it is considered by European scholars and museums as the first source of information on the development and technology of iron production in colonial times.
Back in 1803, James and Danny Heaton found the ore that was lying in Yellow Creek. They built a blast furnace there along the shore.
The ironworks consisted of 3 main buildings: the blast furnace, the forge, and the rolling and slitting mill. Each one performed a specific function, but the process needed to start with the correct raw materials. The 3 critical raw materials used were charcoal, bog ore, and gabbro. Charcoal was produced by burning freshly cut wood, which was covered with dirt. Bog ore was dug up from the bottom of ponds and marsh areas. Gabbro rock, the final material, was found in nearby Nahant and was used to get the impurities out of the iron. The blast furnace was a large stone structure that processed the raw materials into cast iron. It consisted of a charge hole to put the raw materials in, a 16-foot water wheel powered by the river's water, and 2 very large bellows blowing air into the furnace to keep the fire at peak intensity. At the bottom of the furnace, large trenches were dug in the sand to capture the melted iron. Once the iron cooled and hardened, it was on to the forge. The iron bars were dragged to the forge by oxen, and here they were transformed from cast iron into a workable wrought iron. This process involved using a 500-pound hammer and forging the iron into bars. These bars, or merchant bars as they were called, were the major product of the Saugus Iron Works. The rolling and slitting mill was the last stop at the ironworks. Here, the merchant bars were heated, flattened, and turned into thin rods. The flattened bars were used to make saws and axes, while the thin rods were exported as is or turned into nails and used locally.
With the production of iron in the New World, the early settlers were taking their first step to economic self-reliance. The products they made were used locally and traded internationally. This would be an important start to gaining independence from Great Britain.
The workforce that tended to the ironworks was made up of 4 groups of people: the Puritans, who inhabited the Massachusetts colony; the Scots, who worked as indentured servants; the Pawtucket, a group of Native Americans who mostly cut wood to service the ironworks; and finally, skilled ironworkers who came from England with their special iron-making knowledge. At peak operation in 1648, the ironworks employed 185 people. Unfortunately, the Saugus Ironworks was filled with corruption and never able to make a profit. In 1670, it stopped all operations. However, the ironworkers took their talents to other settlements and opened new ironworks. These workers would set the foundation for the American iron and steel industry.
That concludes our visit to the Saugus Ironworks. I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about the history of ironmaking in the New World. Through the vision of John Winthrop in this Puritan settlement, the iron industry was born in the New World. Thank you very much for joining me on this trip.